A photo possibly of my grandmother. Background of the photo: about 8 to 9 years ago my mom had taken our dog out to use the restroom. When he got out there he started freaking out and barking. He's kinda a weird dog and my mom thought it would be funny to film him. When she opened the camera on her phone she accidentally took a picture before filming. It wasn't until later in the evening did she discover the picture. The crazy thing is, for us, is the place we lived in at the time had no activity before or after this. The only thing we could think of is that the day this happened was the day before the anniversary of my grandmother's passing. We like to think this was her way letting us know she is still with us. A weird coincidence happened yesterday, so I had a job interview yesterday morning. Taxi driver had a nightmare finding the office's side entrance down an alley under old railway arches and lots of construction work going on. Area has really changed. Finally found it and walked in and got a strange feeling that I had been there before. Anyway, got the job. Then I rang my mom and she asked where it was. So I said the old building opposite the church on Chapel Street. She said the one down the alley? I said yes. She said that was your dad's old office where I used to take you as a child. How strange is that? I had said a little prayer to my late dad the night before asking him to wish me luck. Now I am working in his old workplace. Red heart. Can you help me? I'd seen that boy before. It was in the supermarket. I felt a tug on my sleeve and there he was. Innocent little face looking up at me. He asked if I could help him. I didn't even get a chance to reply before the boy's dad appeared, apologizing. Asking if the boy was bothering me. Of course he wasn't, don't be silly. He took the boy's hand, saying sorry again as they walked away. The child's head dropped. I guessed he was in trouble for leaving his parents or even talking to a stranger. It's 3 days later, and I'm seeing that boy's face again. On the news. His body's just been found. A couple on screen now, being interviewed. They're distraught. The boy's parents. I feel sick to my stomach. The man on TV is not the same man I saw in the supermarket. Ghost is helping me around the house? I've had this house for 4 years almost. We've had some spiritual people come over and they all think the house has wonderful energy, and so do we. Sometimes we see shadows in the corner of our vision, but what's funny is that I feel like it's helping us around. My mother made coffee and forgot about it and left the stove on with the coffee cooking. When she finally remembers it and goes to the kitchen, the stove is turned off and the coffee is just fine. Same thing happened today. I was making rice and got distracted and left the rice cooking for 30 minutes. When I remember it I rush to the kitchen and lo and behold my rice is cooked just fine, and the stove is turned off. It spooked me out, but I feel totally at ease in this house. Is this a ghost? Healthcare workers, what's the creepiest thing that's happened to you? Story included. My mom used to work in healthcare and some of the stories I heard from her were so creepy. One story she has told, she used to work with hospice and they were having a bad day with a lot of patients being brought in and taken out. She walked past one room with a woman crying. She went in and asked what was wrong. The women responded, "I don't want to be the third." My mother questioned her and was told that the women in the corner kept telling her she would be the third person to die. There was no one in the room other than the women and my mom. After some reassurances and comforting, my mother had to leave. The women ended up passing in the room later that day and was indeed the third person to pass in that room that day. I felt my dog's wet nose rubbing against my hand last night. He died a year back. I really want to apologize for the bad English, but I just had to share this. My dog had been with us for 10 years before he passed away last year. He always slept in my room with me and his bed had always been just beside mine on the right side and still is there. Last night when I was scrolling through my phone I heard scratching noises coming from the same direction as his bed. I ignored the noise as I wasn't really paying attention, and that's when it happened. I felt his wet nose rubbing against my hand. This happened a lot of times when he was sleeping right beside me as his bed was very close. I couldn't believe what happened, and it could be anything, but it just felt like he was there with me. I saw him. A young boy from our town died recently and I can't get him out of my mind. This isn't just a random face I've glanced at in the newspaper or saw on a local newscast. No, this is different. I've seen this boy before. He was in my sister's grade. He lived a few blocks away on the main street of this small town. I've definitely seen this boy before. I saw him occasionally when picking up my sister from school. I saw him at the local supermarket with his mom and at the skate park near my job. I saw him riding his bike tirelessly around our neighborhood for hours on end. I've seen this boy so many times. I just wish I saw him that night when I sped through the crosswalk. If I saw him then, maybe I could stop seeing him now. I think I just received a sign from my dad. My dad passed away on Friday last week from esophageal cancer. I just showed some pictures to my daughter on my phone, explaining to her who's in the photos. We looked at a picture with me, my son and my dad in it. Then it suddenly changed to a picture of my dad when he was around my age, laughing and waving directly into the camera. I tried to debunk it but couldn't. We didn't touch the screen, and even if we did, it would have looked different when you swiped the pictures. Something very similar happened a year ago, after my grandma died, my dad's mom, also on my phone and with a picture of her. I think it was a sign, and even if it wasn't, the thought alone still helps a bit. I find comfort in it. Logical explanation? To clarify, I have never been a firm believer of anything supernatural or paranormal of that sort due to never having a personal experience with any of it. But while going through family photos with my mother, my sister has pointed out something that I can't quite explain. Pictured is my mother, me, sister, and grandmother, with no one else being in the apartment at the time. Pictured below is the original picture and a circled picture to further point out what we see. After toying with editing tools on my phone such as saturation, I can make out a pair of glasses, a shorter hairdo or otherwise put back in a ponytail, and what seems to be a wrinkled cheek. Family seems to believe it is the spirit of a loved one, but I just can't seem to wrap my head around it. Any inputs from the people of Reddit? Mad Libs, my sexy day. Today I woke up and got off my gay couch. I ate salami, grabbed my cassette tape, and skipped out the door. While I was at the barber shop, something enlightening happened. I got a message from Mike on Reddit. I revealed the message and saw it was from my girlfriend Amy's account. She was playing on me with Mike. I was going to request her about what was going on, but then I had a better condom. We both love Mad Libs, so what better way to reimburse her than in a Mad Libs M** writer? I can't wait to see the look in her. Anthony, why are you looking at me like that? When I read this back to her. She won't know what. Why do you have a knife, babe? Her. What an Anthony day. Me and my friends were exploring an abandoned construction site and decided to take a picture. Me and my friends were exploring an abandoned construction site and decided to take a picture on the 6th floor balcony of one of the apartments. https://imager.com/fidgefc https://imager.com/5jzjfc. The next day, when we looked at the photo, we noticed something strange in the background. It kinda looks like there is a creepy smiling face in the doorway behind us. We tried to brighten the picture as much as our phones could. https://imager.com/v1l6pll https://imager.com/v1l6pll, and you can more clearly see what seems like a wide smile and eye sockets. We've shown it to other friends and nobody could tell us what it is. It could have been a homeless person, as they sometimes sleep on the first floor, but it doesn't look human, and we are sure there wasn't anyone else there or we would have heard or saw him. Does anybody have any ideas what could it be? My 11-year-old daughter is horrified, so my daughter's room is across the hall from my room. She keeps hearing me screaming her name in the middle of the night. She's actually woken me up a couple times by yelling back, and then as I'm waking up I'm so confused on why she's yelling at me. LOL, the last time it happened was a few days ago. However, this time I woke up because I heard my voice yelling my daughter's name, and I'm positive it wasn't coming out of my mouth. Freaked me right out. We live in the country in Ontario, Canada, and we all have AC units in our rooms, so we never hear much of anything usually. Are these mimics a real thing? What happens if you answer it? Or what can happen? Why are there such things if they are real, and what do they look like? TIA. My 9-year-old son is having crazy dreams. So my son is 9. He told me this morning that he had a dream last night where he was looking down at his body, and then Uncle Randy took his hand and helped him fly away. His Uncle Randy was my older brother and had passed away when my son was 3. He then described how he saw me crying in the tub. I was crying in the tub last night. I'd been very stressed with my pregnancy. After the tub I went to check on him and he was still asleep. My son then told me Uncle Randy told him to tell me that I can't cry with teddy bear eyes. Which is something he would tell me as kids. It was all very strange. Do you guys think it was just a dream or something else? My grandfather let me know he saw what I did. My grandfather was the last of my dad's parents to die. He was known for smoking constantly. If he wasn't smoking one, he was rolling one, always no filter and no roach. After he died, the family took one last walk around him and my grandma's house before it was sold on. I took one last walk around the playroom, an old spare bedroom that was turned into a toy room for the kids of the family. I locked it up behind me and for whatever reason, I pocketed the key. Fast forward that night after the funeral. The key is still in my trouser pocket. I've traveled 40 miles home and gone to bed. Next morning I go to the kitchen and in the ashtray is a rollop, no filter, no roach, burning in the ashtray. Fast burning like someone was taking a long drag. Next to it, the playroom key. My husband isn't cheating on me. I love my husband. I know he isn't cheating on me. Now, other women might be suspicious if their husband started coming home in different clothes than he left in. But not me. I trust him. I know he's not cheating on me. Other women might be suspicious if their husband started spending longer hours at the office. Other women would jump to conclusions seeing their husband with so many younger girls. Friends from work, he calls them. Other women might be upset constantly seeing the girls that take up so much of their husband's time. Reminders of the fact he's never home. But not me. When I watch the news and I see the pictures their families chose for the missing posters, I can't help but smile. My husband isn't cheating on me.